I have a question because, you know, you're running a professional practice. I'm a CPA running a professional practice. And I guess I'm trying to see how can, and also have older clients, and I know since I'm one of Sam's patients, I know he has older patients. And they're not Twittering and Facebooking. And so I'm kind of going, well, I'm not going to connect that way with a large part of my existing population. However, there's the rest of the world that you know, you may want to connect with, but there's also, how can I say this without sounding elitist? We're in Los Altos, and we are not, you know, in our case, we are not H&R Block. He's, you know, they're not Walmart, and I'm not putting down H&R Block or Walmart. They have a good market niche, but that's not my market niche, and maybe I'm being prejudiced when I say I'm not sure that I'm going to connect with the people. They're going to be disappointed, or we're going to spend a lot of time saying our minimum fee for a tax return is $800, and that's going to terminate the conversation, and I don't need 100 of those. You know,
I think
so.
one of the basics of using social media is you want to be where your target clients are. So the first question is, where are they? And that's where you put your effort. So
maybe in your case they're in email.
They're all working at Google or at Intuit, and so, you know.
Yeah, or where they're looking when they're looking for a service.
I don't know.
But if you look at over the age of 65, and Paul probably has this down, how many people are using the internet? It's impressive. That, you know, grandma and grandpa have a Facebook so they can connect with their grandkids. They might not Twitter, but there's ways to make Twitter populate your email. And a large percentage of the population currently uses email, including those in an elderly population, especially in smart Silicon Valley, Los Altos. I mean, and so what would be a good thing, I think, for everybody is to start doing, just asking, you know, do an outreach. So what do you use? And I've been really impressed with how many of my 70, 80, 90-year-old patients use Twitter, use Facebook, understand optimization more than me.
Actually, did I hear you say you wanted to connect with the people that work at a Google or somewhere else?
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, there is a population out there that we know can use our services in some of our specialization, if you will. And so, how, you know, yeah, we've got our web page, but, you know, they've got to do the URL to get to our web page.
Well, here's another one that hasn't come up yet is Yelp. Yelp is actually, you know, when we were talking about what's good and what's bad, so LinkedIn's been of no use to me. Website was absolutely crucial. These other things have been ancillary. Yelp has been absolutely beautiful. So Sam sends all his patients to a person who's a competitor of mine because they've always had that relationship. His competitor communicates in a different style with his patients, so he has a certain Yelp score. So they find him because he's easier to find, and then they go to who else, okay, people have seen you, where else do they go? They go to mine, because I have more stars. So I'm getting what I call Yelp drip down. And so Yelp actually, they are now going out and connecting with everybody who's a Yelp 5-star and offering a marketing tool and plan. And so Google, every time I ask somebody, so how'd you hear about me? So 50% of my patients still come off the internet, straight off the internet, no doctor interface. And they say, I went on the internet and then I went and checked your Yelp score. Yeah, Yelp is super important. So anybody who doesn't know about Yelp, you need to know about Yelp.
And how old is your client typically? What's the demographic?
So my demographic, I take care of babies 2 weeks or more, up to my oldest patient, 102.
Wow.
But I mean, who would be searching for you? Who's checking your Yelp score?
Everybody. So in Los Altos, everyone. Whether it's the teenager who's 12 years old,
what kind of
the
practice?
So on my practice, I do plastics, which is facial plastics, but then I do neuro and orbit, which are, you know, cancers, tumors, neurologic problems, and it's both. So whether it's a cosmetic thing or it's something very serious, people are going on the internet. They used to call their family doctor. They don't. They go on the internet, they search the terms, they then look for somebody who does it, and then they go check their Yelp score.
So what's interesting in this conversation is you haven't heard anybody talk about the yellow pages, right?
No.
So we already know that the yellow, 93% of consumers say they would trust the internet.
In 33 years, I've never gotten a decent client off the yellow pages. Yeah. Very, very candid.
Well, you raised a number of excellent questions in terms of how do you find and connect with your target audience that you're looking for. So there's been some excellent ideas on how you go about doing that. What I heard is understand how your target audience wants to be communicated with, and you adopt that particular methodology. Yellow Pages, one of the difficulties, and it's relates directly with social media, is that Yellow Pages is difficult to measure the effectiveness of that particular ad. And sometimes you're committed for up to a year with a Yellow Page ad. Whereas with Google AdWords, as Lee was outlining, it's instantaneous in terms of the feedback you're getting. How many people have clicked through, how much are you paying, you can limit how much you're paying, so you get that return on investment is immediately visible to you as to how effective it is. And if it's not working, you change something. So it makes it very valuable to get that feedback so you can be more effective with your marketing.
How would